Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Grant and Brother Bob, powered by Bet US. That's Brother Bob. I'm Grant Cohn. You should know who Brother Bob is if you watch any of these shows. He's always in the comment section. He's always trying to instigate something, which makes him definitely stand out. He's one of the main characters of this bizarre subculture we've created. And now he's here. Brother, thank you very much for taking some time to talk football with me today.
Sounds good. And good morning to you, Grant, and everyone else. Thanks for having me here. And I think it's really good to have a true fan, but a fan that's not a homer, giving some opinions. And I know we're going to clash on this Aiyuk thing, but let's get it on.
What I really appreciate about people who watch my show, people like Brother Bob, it's like a very specific type of football fan. Because let's be clear, most football fans in most markets don't really want to hear the truth about their team. Like, they engage with the team like, just tell me why we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. Please tell me why the coach is doing everything right and why the quarterback's going to be really good. That's what most fans want to hear. And the ones that come here are a different breed. They've been watching the Niners usually for a long time, and they have very high standards, and they know bullshit when they hear it or when they see it. Brother Bob, you're one of those guys. Let's get right into it with Brandon Aiyuk. He has unfollowed the 49ers on Instagram real quick. Ooh. Like,
we've seen this before, right?
I'm sure Debo hit him up like, hey, man, 2 weeks out, do it. Press the button. So do you think, like, when this happened, did this change your feelings of how this is going to end up? What are your thoughts right now on the Brandon Aiyuk situation?
All right, fair enough. But before we get into that, let me just say this about what you said. I think sometimes the truth hurts. And as a fan, I want to see the Niners win. That's all I want to see. Niners win Super Bowls, that is. So sometimes it hurts me to be realistic about things that we see or hear, right? Anyway, about Aiyuk. I don't think that him unfollowing the team has much to do with anything but leverage. As a lawyer, I know all about negotiating, not everything, but I do know about negotiating some things. And I think this could be another repeat of what Debo did.
No question. Yeah, I even found an article from a couple of months ago where Debo was talking about how he's going to be helping Brandon Aiyuk through the process. It's like, is that a good thing?
well, hold on. Debo did get paid.
He did get paid. It's true.
So it could be a good thing, right?
I mean, I felt like Debo was going to get paid one way or another. He didn't get paid because he threw a fit that year. He got. I mean, I don't know. The Niners wanted him. They take a long time. I feel like why this is a story is because I think there's a difference between the Debo situation and the Aiyuk situation. When Debo was up for an extension, it was his offense. It was his team. Like, there was no team that was going to look at Debo and say, we can give him more touches in the Niner. We can use him in more ways in the Niner. Like, they had already kind of maxed him out. Niners have not maxed out Brandon Aiyuk. He knows it. They know it. The league knows it. And maybe things will change, over the next couple of years with Brock Purdy. But you could, if I were Brandon Aiyuk, I would feel like there's got to be multiple teams that are willing to pay me what I want. And I don't know that the Niners are one of them. And I think that's the problem here.
Okay, but let's look at it this way. I think Brandon Aiyuk knows how important and vital he is to this offense.
Hell yeah.
Okay, because we're at, I think, a precipice on our team where I think this is probably the last year we can go all in for a Super Bowl, right? And I think Aiyuk knows that he's needed in order to do that again. Looking at his stats, Grant, I mean, I just looked at him this morning again, and I see a guy who, let's see, played 16 games last year. So he missed one game. I think was that the last game, or maybe he had one for injury, the shoulder. But he had 75 receptions on 105 targets, 1,342 yards.
Yeah.
17.9 average per reception and 7 TDs.
He's just off the charts.
Yeah, exactly. And this is in an offense where he's not the focus point, right? This is in an offense where it's primary run first. Okay. So I think he has grown a bond and a rapport with Purdy. That's very important. And I think the Niners, if they're trying to go for a Super Bowl this year, have to retain my man, number 11, the assassin, Aiyuk.
Okay. That is one way to look at it. If they're going to win the Super Bowl this year, it just gets tricky down the line, giving him a 4 or 5 year deal. But like again, let's take it out of it. What the Niners want to do? The Niners want to keep Brandon Aiyuk. They've made that clear. They want to keep him. He's great. What does Aiyuk want though? I think Debo wanted the most money he could get, and he found out over the course of the offseason that was with the 49ers. I think Brandon Aiyuk wants the most money he can get, and I'm not sure that he feels that's here. He wants the most targets he can get. I'm not sure he feels that's here, and he might be right. So what is the incentive for him to sort of meet the Niners in the middle? Debo ended up meeting them in the middle. Kittle ended up meeting them in the middle with the confidence that they were going to be featured in the offense. Aiyuk might not. And if Aiyuk's going to drive a hard bargain and say, I need $27 million, that's what I need. That's kind of what Buckner did. Like, I'm worth $21 million per season. Like, I'm that good and I need to be compensated as such. And the Niners are like, well, if you can't negotiate with us, we'll trade you. So I just feel like it might come down to if the Niners get the offer they like.
Okay, but there's two things that Aiyuk wants. Dollar bills for sure. He wants to get paid. Don't blame him. Again, with the stats he put up in this offense, I think is great. The other thing that he wants is one of these. He wants a ring, and it's clear that's what he wants. That's at least what this Niner fan wants. But the way he acted in his last interview, the closing interview, I think you were in front of him. The man was literally fighting back tears because that's how bad he wants to win a Super Bowl. That's how bad. True. He said the word championship several times. And then in he was on a podcast with Sterling Sharp and Ocho Cinco. He said the same thing, championship. So I think there's two things he wants. And I know I believe he realizes that with the Niners, this is his best shot to win a Super Bowl. Granted, if he didn't have Kyle Levy as his coach.
So it's possible that when it's all said and done, when August rolls around, he'll play ball with the 49ers, just like George Kittle did and Debo did before him. I mean, he's posturing right now like he won't, but that's what every player does, right?
Exactly. I would too. Right? It's money. Right.
Yeah. Now, I feel like if you had Brandon Aiyuk alone privately, you asked him, would you like the Niners to trade you before the draft? Do you think he'd say yes or no?
I don't think he would. And this is not from a homer take, but just the way he kept saying championship. So I think that's important to him. And I just say that because he kept saying that word.
Sure.
He was legitimately pissed and sad that we didn't win the Super Bowl. And right. I think he would not say that he wanted to trade. By the way, if he wanted to say if he wanted to force a trade, he could just come out and say it now. He could have said it on Twitter, right? Sure. But what was the first thing he said on Twitter? Money talks, BS walks, right? So I think he really wants the money and a championship. So I don't think he would ask for a trade publicly.
You know what it seems like? It seems like he wants validation from the 49ers. It seems like what he wants. It's like, look, man, you guys have kind of treated me like this little brother on this offense forever. You put me in the doghouse. You made it public. You like froze me out in the Super Bowl and gave all the targets to Debo. I want my damn recognition. I want the money. I want the targets. I don't want to go anywhere else, but I want you to look at me in a different light. And I don't know that Kyle Shanahan ever will. That's a tough one. I mean, he has a full-on bromance with Debo. Like, that's not going to ever change. And I'm just saying, like, I just don't know that Aiyuk is necessarily his type. So they may be in an impasse there. He may never get the targets he wants. But I'm with you, man. I think he wants the validation from the best team, not from Washington.
Right.
Not from New England.
Yeah, I don't see his career going off at those two locations. May be wrong. But yeah, I would want validation. You know, this so-called doghouse his sophomore year and less targets. But at the end of the day, if the money is right and if he feels he's got a chance to compete for a legitimate Super Bowl title, I think he'll remain. But as far as Kyle, here's the thing. I think Kyle is going to realize really soon, if he already hasn't, even though I think Kyle's a little bit socially unaware at times, or at least with his time management of games and certain play calls, maybe he's not so aware of the situation. But I think he realizes that he needs Aiyuk. Because look at it this way: without Aiyuk this year, tell me how productive would our offense be? We don't have a man beater.
Right.
That's all
You
I'm
got to
saying.
tell me on Brandon Aiyuk. I think he's great. Here, I got a scenario for you.
Go ahead.
Tell me if you think this is plausible. Remember 2 years ago, things weren't going so good with Debo and the Niners. And then we interviewed Kyle about it during the draft. And I think someone asked, like, why are you so confident that you're going to work this out with Debo? And he's like, because I haven't even called him yet. That's my friend. We'll work it out. I haven't even talked to him yet. Is he going to call Aiyuk? Like, do they have that kind of relationship? Because it would be interesting. It would be real interesting. Like, from Ayuk's perspective, it's like he seems like the kind of guy who holds grudges, who remembers slights, and who wants a little bit of retribution. So can you imagine some of the things that Kyle has said to Brandon Aiyuk privately throughout the years when he was young, when he couldn't say anything back? Now the tables are turned. You want me to stay here? You want me to take a little less money to make things good? Why don't you call me up and kiss my ass? How about that?
Hey, listen.
Is he going to do it? Because he did it for Debo.
Kyle, listen. Pick up that phone right now.
Pick up the phone. Tell him what he needs to hear, man. He's 25 years old. He wants your validation, man. Tell him what he needs to hear.
He has to give it to him. It's not just about giving him validation, but it's the proof is in the pudding. Look at Purdy. Look how Purdy progressed with Aiyuk. That was his number one receiver, wide receiver. Okay. So he knows, I think Kyle realizes that's the key to his offense now is Purdy. And who makes Purdy more productive? Aiyuk. So yes, Kyle, please, I won't call you Kyle Levy anymore. Pick up the phone, call Aiyuk, and tell Aiyuk how much he's important to this team. Not just this year, but Grant, I also think future years. Aiyuk is still young. This will be his first contract, his extension. He's young. He can grow with Purdy. And I think that, now I don't know about playing him on that 5th-year option is the way to go. You don't want to piss him off. But I think that the way that the contracts would work, we don't have to worry about both he and Debo both being $25 million against the cap on a particular year. We can get in that later. And I love you, Debo, if you ever see this, because I know you guys act like you don't like Grant. I love you, bro. But it's just not quite, you're not quite the same anymore. And you're not a man beater. We saw it in the Super Bowl. We need Aiyuk. We need a man beater.
That's the point before we move on. Like, we see how defenses are going to try to defend Purdy. I think this is a Purdy thing. He's so good against zone. Like, his accuracy and mostly his anticipation makes him tough to beat from zone. Teams had more success, it seemed, playing man-to-man coverage because they did a pretty good job against Debo that way. And if that's, and it really requires a little bit more arm talent. So if that's how teams are going to play the Niners, then you really do need Brandon Aiyuk and another guy like him.
So exactly. So tell me this then, Grant. Let's just say, because I know yesterday I think I heard you say you want him traded. And Aiyuk, listen, I don't think he means that, but maybe he does.
No, I do. I've explained why, but we can talk about it.
Right.
But I mean it from like if I were the general manager of another team, I'd be looking at the Niners like, I gotta get Aiyuk. Like, they don't know what they're doing with him. They're never gonna get him, like, fully utilize him. And if I trade for him now, coming off this 75 catch season, it's kind of like buying low. Because on my team, he's gonna have 110 catches. I'll make sure of it.
Oh, exactly. You know what I mean? Aiyuk knows that. Yeah, I agree.
I kind of think of it as like, remember 10 years ago when James Harden was the 6th man for the Thunder, and the Rockets were like, why don't you come on our team and take 24 shots a game, see what happens? It's like, oh, that was a good investment. That worked.
But let's not talk about James Harden because he's been around the league since then, right? I don't know if he's unlike Aiyuk. So Aiyuk stays in shape. And that's another thing. Again, I'm a Niners fan through and through. I'm not necessarily a Players fan like I used to be. That guy, Montana, to me, was the greatest of all time. So I'll always be that guy's fan. But let me just say this, followed by Rice. I just want the Niners to win. I just don't see how trading Aiyuk lets us win a Super Bowl, okay? So let's just say, though, we do trade him, all right? Let's say we get somewhere in the 16 to 19 range first round. Let's just say that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Who could we get that would propel this team, specifically the offense, to be better than what it was let's say in the Super Bowl, and let's say in the first half of the NFC Championship game against the Lions?
I mean, that's a tough one. You may not get someone better than Ayuk, but you might get someone younger, faster, cheaper, maybe even more talented, but better than Ayuk right away. That's probably not going to happen.
Exactly.
So what happens, and that's again why the Niners don't want to do this, because trading Ayuk ultimately makes you worse this year when you're trying to win the Super Bowl. So let's talk about that. Is this the 49ers' last all-in season, 2024?
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
Sure. I think it is. I do think it is because we have a lot of aging vets. We've got Trent Williams, George Kittle, who, by the way, used to be one of my faves, you know, but until that high George issue. Come on, man, pay attention. You're in the Super Bowl. Don't stop until you hear whistles. But he's charismatic, though.
Yeah.
You also have another problem at the right tackle. That's not a true. No offense, McKivitz. I don't think that you're a really starting caliber right tackle in the NFL. But what do I know?
Did you see him in the new Purdy commercial, though?
John yes, Deere? I did.
That's a good friend, man. Purdy's going to get McKivitz paid. Let's go.
Oh, for sure. Well, he already got the contract, right?
Yeah.
We also have some problems.
John Deere was like, do you have any more salt of the earth teammates that no one's really heard of who might like to drive a tractor? Do I? You haven't met our right tackle.
And our center. Bring that guy next. But anyway, yeah. So I think the problem is we've got a lot of aging vets and we have a lot of questionable talent. So, you know, I think that this is probably it because then Debo's contract inflates his cap hit. So I can see Debo, obviously Juice, Kittle, and Trent Williams being off this team pretty soon. I think 2025, we're looking at a pretty big rebuild, at least retooling.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a lot of these guys, like Kittle's going to be a free agent after 2025. McCaffrey's going to be a free agent after 2025. Debo after 2025. Like the whole team, except for Trent Williams after 2026. But these guys are getting old anyway. And next year, they're going to give Brock Purdy the extension, assuming, and he won't be really super duper expensive right away. So you could argue that they may have one more year in 2025, but like this team is getting so old. And yeah, I agree. They may trade Debo next year. Is Hargrave going to be here past next year? Is Malik Collins going to be here past next year? It seems like they've put together all these guys right around 30, 31 years old to bring it home. And if they don't, they may have to, I mean, they have to get younger. Right. So yeah, this is the all-in year.
I do think this is the all-in year, just like this past season was, you know. But my concern is this, and that's why, not to go back to Aiyuk and beat a dead horse, but that's why you have to keep him. And that's why you have to try to keep him happy. And then after this year, this coming season, then that's when you can build around Purdy, Aiyuk. You can get younger and more qualified, I think offensive linemen to put around them, because I think that's going to be the key now. And hopefully the Niners understand that while Purdy is he's talented, obviously, but he's going to need better protection because I can see him getting hurt. And I don't want that, obviously, as a Niners fan.
I don't want that either. Sorry, my mind wandered a little bit. I'm going back to Brandon Aiyuk for a second. I love this, the whole story of unfollowing someone being a headline. Like, what if I unfollowed you on Twitter? Would people notice? Would people talk about it?
Well, you go ahead and do it.
I think, I keep giving this guy shout outs because I think it's hilarious. This guy, Man Talk Sports, and his whole idea is to just basically comment about us all the time, which is like really feeding my ego. I love it. And what if he like figured out that I just unfollowed Larry Krueger or the coach and just talked about it? We gotta start content creator drama, not actual beef, but drama.
I like that.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. No, okay, look. I think in today's age, and speaking of age, I've got a lot of white whiskers all over. I'm getting up there.
Were you
but
like
I think
39?
in today's age, what'd you say?
You like 39?
Oh yeah, I wish. Thank you. I'm gonna tell my wife you said that.
Yeah.
I'm 13 years older than her, and she always tell me, "You're old." Thanks, love. Anyway,
Thanks.
I've seen all the Niners Super Bowls. I'll say that. But here's the thing: in today's age, everyone's social media. Oh my God, look at this. So and so unfollowed so and so. So and so did this. So and so said this.
Yeah.
And I think the generation. What are we, Z now or whatever?
I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the problem is that people focus too much on social media. And we've seen this before, though. We've seen it with Debo. We've seen it with others. So I wouldn't take too much stock into Aiyuk following the Niners, other than he's just trying to get paid and trying to put a little spice in the negotiations, trying to really kind of stick it to the Niners. And hopefully, I think what he's trying to do is get that validation from Kyle. Hey, Kyle, pick up the phone and call me like you did Debo.
That's what I think it's going to come down to. Kyle has to call Aiyuk and work this out. Hey, remember that stuff I said? Remember when I gave playing time to Trent Sherfield over you? I'm sorry. I was being a jerk. I really thought it was in your best interest, but I was kind of being a jerk. And then it was Mohamed Sanu for a while. Yes.
But okay, Grant, see, this is the thing I don't get. And by the way, for everyone who may see me commenting about Kyle Levy, just know this. I was a huge Shanahan stan before this first Super Bowl loss with the Niners, okay? But then once I realized my brain interprets and dissects what I see and what I hear, then I got problems. And I say that because he did the same damn thing to Mostert. Why did Coleman start that? I was at that game. I was at that Super Bowl. I've sent you pictures, sent you videos. And I see
why Coleman started?
Why? Tell me.
Because we all said that Mostert should start.
Okay, I get it. See, that's my problem. You're not really trying to win a Super Bowl, are you? You're just trying to look smarter than everyone else. Do you have children? Yes, I do.
If you were to tell one of your kids to do something and they would do the opposite, like at what age did they outgrow that?
Oh man, I have a 2-year-old right now. Is firmly in
stage, right? Hey, do this. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, and not only she does this too. No. So I think that's what.
Does Kyle not have a little bit of that in him? No, absolutely not.
I'm gonna throw it when I know I should run it. No, but as a fan, though, see the difference between you and I is I know you enjoy it. Sometimes it helps, maybe, I don't know, with your content and writing. For me, it sucks. I hate losing, and I hate losing the Super Bowl. A lot of people may disagree, but when I was at that NFC Championship game when Mostert went off, got all the pictures and video to prove it. And I remember telling my wife, I said, love, at the beginning of the game, I said, look, I want to win this game so bad. But if we win this game, we must win the Super Bowl. I don't want to win this game and go lose the Super Bowl. I hate losing the Super Bowl. That's the first loser to me. And then when it happened and the way it happened, to see Kyle trying to force with Jimmy, it just seemed like, okay, what are you doing, guy? And to see him not start Mostert, the guy who had like 200 plus yards in the NFC Championship game, you ran the rock with him nonstop because Jimmy wasn't that good. Then, like, come on, just win the damn game. Be like your dad. Go win the game. That's, by the way, not to go on a rant here, but that's why I love the whole Shanahan hire in the beginning because of his dad. I remember his dad. That offense in '94 was prolific, and even before '94. So I just think that we didn't get the best Shanahan, and I'm concerned as a fan. I just want to win it. That's it.
Yeah, well, we'll try to help him. All right, let's check out our sponsor, BetUS. And let's see their line for round one. So this is an interesting NFL draft line. Just who's going to get drafted in round one. Like Tyler Guyton clearly going to get drafted in round one. But you start getting down to here, and with Michael Penix Jr. at even, Bo Nix at plus 120, it seems like this is where the odds makers expect the final players to get taken in round one. And that's where the Niners pick, 31. So it's kind of like a roundabout way to see where the experts think the best player available will be when the Niners are, oh, man, time me out. Okay, hold on. I'm back.
Bet USA did not like that.
No, they were like, no, don't do this. Hold on. Okay, we're back. It's really easy. You just click on football, go over here, select all, boom. Okay. So what I think about this is I wrote an article about this yesterday. What if the Niners are sitting there at 31, Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. are both available, and all of a sudden their phone starts lighting up. Team saying, I want one of these quarterbacks in round 1 to get that 5th-year option. That seems like good news for the 49ers. It just seems like a great opportunity to trade down.
Yes, it does. But were you done? I don't want to.
Oh, keep going. Yeah, no.
Okay. But here's the thing. All right. Here's my thing. I think that if the right OT, offensive tackle, or O lineman, even guard or center, fall, I think they should take that player. And why? Is because you get that 5th-year option. You get to control that player a little longer. Now, it depends. What team is trying to call up? What are they trying to get? If they're trying to get a quarterback, they may give more than what I think, than that offensive tackle or offensive lineman, guard, center is worth. So, yeah, I would entertain it, obviously. But if the guy that I'm looking at is there, it'd be tough.
I just think it's interesting. Like they expect Jordan Morgan to get taken in round 1. So that seems to be maybe the guy that experts expect the Niners to go with if they take an offensive lineman. Darius Robinson, the D lineman they might go with, Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, I believe, from Texas. He's might not even be available for. So the Niners want to take someone to replace Aiyuk. They may have to trade up like they did to get Aiyuk 4 or 5 spots to get one of these guys. Also, if they could stand pat and take Kingsley Suamataia, Lad McConkey, Edgerrin Cooper, if they want to take a linebacker, because I really don't know how they feel about Devondre Campbell. That might be one, right? They could take a linebacker at 31. They took Foster at 31.
Yeah, Ruben, good guy, right? He's actually doing pretty well in the UFL. But here's what I think. Honestly, you mentioned a name, and I know Naylor likes Jordan Morgan, and I do too. I've looked at some of his film. I don't care about his short arms. The guy can play tackle. And if he falls on his face, then you can move him to guard, because it's not like we have a great guard situation, especially at right guard, and then sometimes people think Banks may be an issue. So I like that pick with Jordan Morgan a lot. If he's there at 31, that's who I would take.
All right, hold on. Let's put it in right now.
All right.
$50 to make 21. Just all he has to do is go in round 1. I'm putting it in at BetUS. I just want to shout out the #1 online sportsbook on the internet, because they're online, in which they're currently offering 125% deposit match up to $2,500 on your first 3 deposits. They also have 24/7 customer service, 24-hour payouts. Click the top link in the description to receive your bonus. Also giving away $125 in free play. So the first 5 people who DM me on Twitter showing me their account number will receive $25 in free play.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
BetUS,
draft
where the game
BetUS, where the game begins.
Before we continue, I see a comment by my good guy GTC Reels. He said, but the problem is if you draft Morgan and you ship him to guard, you just overpaid him. And I know that's what some people think and would say. But if you get a badass dominant right guard or even left guard, and you can run behind him and he's a great pass protector, then I think you're just looking at making that O-line not be an issue, a porous issue that it has been. So I think, again, he's a great player. You can't just go off of, his physique, because didn't people do that with Purdy, And so anyway, I just wanted to address my good guy, GTC Reels.
Well, let's address all the super chats because we have a bunch of them today. SJ Braveheart says, yo, brother Bob, he always has the chat lit. That is true.
Thank you, sir.
Get the chat lit, you just might get a show of your own. That's how it goes here at the Cohn Zone. Matt McEwen says, people freaking out about the unfollow. It's just a timeline. Next is trade requests. When's that
I
going
don't
to happen?
see that. Go ahead.
When's that going to happen? I can't wait.
I mean, he might do it, but that's not like him. I think, as he said, he has professional people. And Matt, by the way, that's my guy right there. like Ayuk said, he has professional people. And even though he said there's professionals on both sides, I think those people know his agent. Now is not the time to push that issue. Maybe later.
Maybe later. GTC Real says RLBSQ577466. Let's freaking go. That's right.
He always makes fun of my name.
Matt McEwen says, Brother Bob and Grant, my dudes, love you guys. For people who don't know, Matt McEwen is the guy behind the guy. He's the guy behind the scenes. He pretty much arranged this show. So he's the producer. He produces Grant and Brother Bob. Matt McEwen.
He did. Yeah. He is amazing.
After the Super Bowl, he should have thrown to BA more. Thanks.
So,
Brock.
okay, Grant, I got to ask this question.
Is the right thing.
Yeah, but because Brock is smart. And I think that's why I'm saying he's going to go to Kyle and say, you can't get rid of, well, I hope he does. Yeah. My number one and best receiver. But Grant, quick question. And I know I don't want to stall. Is it true that, if you know, that Kyle calls basically 2 plays and tells Purdy, hey, we're going to use motion to see what the defense may be in, if they're trying to disguise their coverage, and then go with said play one or two, depending on what they show. Is that your understanding?
Hold on, I'm confused. Say it again.
Sure. All right, let me slow it down then. So my understanding is that Kyle will call 2 plays.
Yes.
Okay. And then he'll give Purdy 2 plays with the option of, hey, choose one or the other based on what the defense shows.
Also, it's like I'll do a shift in a motion, and based on how the defense reacts, you should be able to pick the right play. So if you ever wonder why the Niners don't do like hurry up offense for Brock Purdy, maybe there's part of that for Kyle. I feel like he feels like Brock needs the answers pre-snap. I don't know.
So that's my thing though. Before we get back to the super chats, I think hopefully this season, Brock will have the option to audible, because I've noticed this. I don't see many quarterbacks audibling in Shanahan's system. All we see is kill, which means I understand go to the second play. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned. I would love to see Purdy with the audible option so he can actually say, hey, I need to get out of this play, both plays, and do something different. I would agree.
Just giving it's like just giving a guy 2 plays and say pick the right one is kind of like condescending. Like, look, I'm going to give you blue and red, okay? Like, it's real simple here, bud. Just paint within the lines. Like, no, this is the quarterback you said is the real deal. He just proved you right. He's really, really good. He's the best quarterback this franchise has had in decades. Like, empower him. He's cerebral. He's supposed to be good at this stuff. He's more than just like a joystick or a robot that you program and to do whatever the hell you want him to do. Like, let him live.
Let him live his best
life.
Let him
live.
But I think that's the difference between us winning a Super Bowl or not. Like, let your playmakers be your playmakers.
Yeah.
Force feed BA. I remember Bill Walsh. Okay, granted, I know some people say he had Jerry Rice. But he also had John Taylor. He also had other receivers, Dwight Clark, that wasn't so, gifted as Rice. But the point is, you exploit the mismatches. You exploit the other team's weaknesses. And then when they finally, if they can beat it or cover it, defend it, then you go to the next weakness that they have. Yeah. So, sorry, I know we digress here, but I think BA should be featured more.
Me too. Dave Barkley, Brother Bob, my guy with the incredible GC, myself and my company, Patriot Builders of Montana, out here watching on a Saturday. It's a Saturday. But I just got on, missed the first 20 minutes. Love you guys. Saturday, it's a Saturday. Yeah. Sorry.
I can't start singing like you and Coach.
I know I can sing like Coach. Matt McEwen says, Brother Bob representing the comment creators. Oh, that's good. I like that. The Ryan G. Hensley Show says $2 in honor of Double B.
Make it clap.
Matt McEwen says, please grab one of the top 3 centers, JPJ, Barton, or Frazier. Not a lot of fans for Jake Brendel in the chat. Sorry, Jake. Dave Barkley, I absolutely love this show, guys. Love you, BB. B squared. Double B.
Too, bro.
We got double B's over here. Okay. Are Kyle Shanahan's 49ers a dynasty?
All right. This interests me a lot because to me, dynasty means one well, at least one thing. You got to win a Super Bowl. But it also means that you win multiple Super Bowls. And usually there's a back-to-back in there, or at least a year or so in between. And I was talking to someone, and they mentioned that the Niners under Shanahan is a dynasty. And it just kind of struck me. I had to look and think and say, really? So I don't think they're a dynasty for a couple of reasons. One, they haven't won a Super Bowl. I mean, two, that's why I call him Kyle Levy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And two, you look at the teams that I think have been dynasties over the years, okay? And I go back a little bit of time. But if you look at those teams, you know it's pretty clear. You've got the Patriots, right? You've got the Niners at one point. The Packers are always in contention. The Cowboys, and now obviously the Chiefs. So to me, those are bona fide dynasties. And if you don't win a Super Bowl, how can anyone consider that a dynasty? Just go ahead.
They're not. But I think what makes them they're absolutely not a dynasty. Like, over my dead body will I allow that narrative. But no, what makes them so interesting and like different than other teams that have come close is, I think, let's say they never win one, and we're trying to explain the Kyle Shanahan era, not dynasty, to people who didn't live through it. You would say what made it unique was that for about 4 or 5 years, they legitimately were the best team in the NFL, and they didn't win a Super Bowl. And that to me is what makes them different than Marv Levy's Bills, because the Bills never were the best team in football. They were the best team in the AFC, but they ran up against the Cowboys over and over and over again, which those Cowboys were legitimately a juggernaut. Like right before free agency, they were loaded in a way that most teams in the history of the league weren't. Kyle doesn't have that excuse. He's not going up against the early 90s Cowboys. He's going up against the Chiefs, who, frankly, I mean, even the Niners will say it. They have the better quarterback because the Niners didn't want that quarterback, but they don't have the better team than the Niners. And the Niners were up big in both Super Bowls. They're up 10 and found new ways to lose. That's what makes this team so special.
Okay, Grant, listen, you take that knife and you just keep stabbing it in and in and in.
With a smile on my face, twisting.
Yes.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
And
that's what they're famous for.
Okay. As a fan, it hurts.
Yeah.
But as a realistic person, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't see how you keep losing leads in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's inexplicable. And watching this last one really bothered me. And I don't want to rehash what has been said, but I think it's important because the same person is making the same decisions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't know the rules. You didn't know the freaking rules.
Right.
And you didn't promulgate it to your team. Now, I know some players knew and some didn't, but the point is you didn't know the rule. That's bad. Okay. We see you at where was he? He was a little intoxicated here and there. Okay, man.
Maybe.
You know the rule.
Allegedly.
Sorry.
Allegedly. We'll see.
Allegedly. Yes. We don't know. You're right. But he looked like he was having a good time. At any rate, I would prefer time being spent getting the team up to speed on the new rules. I would also like to see someone help him with time management in games. Now, and I just don't see him doing that. That's the problem.
And one thing too, the 49ers have this really weird culture about, like, when they lost the Super Bowl the first time, they came back with the revenge tour, which was amazing. As if like they got screwed by the refs or whatever. They always were able to rally around something that, like, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair what happened. It was a fluky result. Like, if there had been a 7-game series, they would have proven that. So they lost the first one, and Jimmy missed that throw to Emmanuel Sanders. And I think the whole team kind of felt like that was it. Or Nick Bosa getting held on that. It was one play here or there. We were the best team. We're going to come back and show it. And then every year there was an excuse, like, Brock Purdy got hurt, whatever. This year, there was no excuse. They had the quarterback, they had the team, they had the lead, and they lost because the coach didn't know a rule. It's hard for the team to rally around that. Be like, this year, you know what? Our coach, he's going to know the rules. And then watch out.
Yeah, well, there was a film breakdown, by the way, too, that kind of boggled my mind, in addition to not knowing the dang on rules. But I'm trying to keep it PG. My wife told me I had to stop swearing so much around my little daughter. But anyway, the way he chose to run McCaffrey sometimes between, it looks like the A and B gaps or, between the guards, that was problematic when it was being shut down. It's like he refused to adapt, and I just don't understand that because
No, he
there's
pulled one
gotta
of
be
these. Pull one of these.
no.
No.
Shout out to my daughter Alyssa. No, but exactly. So I get it. He has an ego. He knows more football than I ever will know in probably 10 lifetimes. But I know one thing. I saw the Niners win 5 rings, and it looks way different than what I see now. So, I hope that someone can get to him. Maybe Papa Shanahan can say, hey, guy, look, son, you can't keep losing 10-point leads in the Super Bowl or double-digit leads in the Super Bowl. It's not a good look for the Shanahan brand. I mean, honestly, it's just not.
Look, if you do it one more time, I'm going to have to disown you. I'm sorry. We're going to have different last names if you blow one more double-digit Super Bowl. You've done it 3 times, son. Yeah. And I know I love you, but there's limits. This is not an unconditional type of deal. There are conditions.
There are certain conditions. Kyle Levy.
You want unconditional love? Talk to your mom. We don't do that. Or I don't do that.
See, this is why they hate you, but it's okay. Kyle, all I want, Kyle.
That stuff you said about my mom was not cool, dude. What?
Now you want to go grab a
hey, man. Yeah.
No, Kyle, listen, honestly, if you see this, and I know you do, as a fan who cares and spent like 20 G's going to the Super Bowl 2019, 2020, okay, do me a favor and actually focus on winning the damn big game, okay? That's all we as fans want. So that means kind of sitting back and realizing you're not perfect and asking for help sometimes. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
That's pretty good. Take a couple super chats. JAL, Joe Staley didn't have long arms and he was great. It's true.
Bingo.
True.
Bingo.
Absolutely. Matt McEwen, Niners documentary will be how to avoid 30 for 30. How the best team in the league for half a decade won nothing.
Never win one.
How to not win. Matt McEwen, Kyle Levy exploiting weaknesses in the Super Bowl. Chiefs D, weakness outside zone runs. Kyle said, hold my beer, runs up the middle. WTF.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Well, okay. And after the first Super Bowl, right, didn't we see, I forgot the safety, came on and said, thank God the Niners stopped running it.
Was it not Tyrann Mathieu?
It was. You're right.
Yeah.
So, isn't that a hint?
Wasn't it also Travarius Ward said that last year on Eric Armstead's podcast, and Armstead was laughing too, So
I mean, it's kind of funny when some fans, and listen, I'm not knocking any fans that may be in the chat right now. I'm there with you guys. I'm just a comment creator. All right, I super chat $2 at a time, but there's some problems, and it's really. Shanahan. It's really, he has to adapt some more. Give a little control away. I was talking to another YouTube content creator about this, and maybe you know some of this, Grant. How much influence does Kyle have over the draft?
As much as he wants. How about that?
Okay.
As much as he freaking wants.
Okay, that's what
if he's in the bathroom during the pick or eating a sandwich, maybe they can get away with making the pick without him. But if he wants that pick to be what he wants, that's on him.
Right. That's what I said because I figured
that, the front office has to wait for him to run out of players he's heard of before they can do their job.
Right. As I told someone, I said, look, no way that you hire a guy and give them more power than you. So we all know that Kyle hired Lynch. No offense, John. You're a Hall of Famer. I know you know more about football than I ever will. Your left pinky probably knows more than me, but no way Kyle gives power to Lynch that would somehow oversee Kyle's when it comes to the draft.
Lynch's job is to do what Kyle doesn't want to do.
Bingo.
Right.
So, and I say that because I think, what'd you say?
Which is a lot. There's a lot of mundane stuff that GMs have to do, but picking the guy in round 1, I'm sure Kyle's interested. Going to coach him.
Yeah.
Has an opinion.
One thing we have to say, thank God John Lynch brokered peace between you and Kinlaw. I'm serious. Javon, if you happen to see this, it's good that you're no longer a team. I don't want you assaulting my guy, Grant, or anyone else. Just kidding. Just kidding. Allegedly.
I'm cool with Javon. But yeah, that kind of shows the value of John Lynch. Like, John Lynch is great for that organization. And I wonder if he didn't do something similar for Spencer Burford and John Feliciano. Because it's just kind of, I would just assume that that's something John, instead of picking sides and getting rid of someone, can you guys come here for a second? Can we talk like men?
No. Yeah.
That's a really nice quality for any leader. He's a great leader, John Lynch, for sure.
I do agree
as
with
opposed to Kyle Levy. Actual leadership.
No, I do agree with that. Yeah. Wait, speaking of Kyle Levy, remember how he did I know he was your guy, and I liked former number 1 on our team, but Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward had some not so nice things to say about Kyle Levy.
No, he didn't.
As far as leadership.
I'll try to not only take his job, but like affect his next contract. Like, oh, you're going to move me to nickel? I was going to get paid at safety. I'm one of the best. So, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
The draft is in 12 days. What are the most pressing needs heading into it for the Niners, and why is it wide receiver? I'm kidding.
Well, I do think we should. Right. I do think we should draft a wide receiver. And if the Xavier Worthy guy fell to the second round, I doubt he falls down to 60 something. Or if we, trade back and get a couple picks, I wouldn't mind seeing him. But I think our pressing needs, let's just be honest, I think is the O-line, corner, and even the D-line. I really do. I think that we've got some problems in this team. I think and safety as well. Who's going to start opposite Jair Brown? I think we do have to address that. But yeah, I think those are our biggest needs. I think offensive line, we just got to address it. We haven't addressed it the last couple of years through the draft, and I think we have to do it this year.
I'm looking at 2 positions the Niners addressed in free agency, but kind of in a backhanded way, like not with first options. Linebacker and tight end, they were aggressive at those 2 positions. They wanted Brock Wright and Eric Kendricks and got neither. So they ended up with Devondre Campbell and Eric Sobert, who are, players on the team, but not who they wanted. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners look at those positions again in the draft.
Well, we definitely need to address linebacker, especially who's going to be the starter while Greenlaw is out. And I did find it funny, and I talked about this or commented on it. Why did Kendricks turn us down? Allegedly, we offered more money than the Cowboys. Maybe it's
Didn't the Cowboys offer a second year?
Could be. I'm not sure, but that could be. Could be.
And maybe they said something to Kendricks like, "Look, it's your job until Greenlaw comes back, and we don't really know when that is." And the Cowboys were like, "We need you. Leighton Vander Esch just retired
right now." Yeah, could be, but I think we will address linebacker. I love the Cedric Gray guy. PP tried to pick up on my pick, but I think. Oh, I know. I said I wasn't going to say.
Trying to take your picks, man. Don't you hate that?
A little bit, just a little bit. But no, Cedric Gray he's been a machine in college, productive. I don't recall seeing any major injuries with him. So I think that would. But see, to me, linebacker is a position that we drafted for previously. We had 2 guys, Winter and Jalen. Forgot his last name. Thank you, Graham.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw good things out of Graham, at least in the preseason. So I would like to see more of him, and I think that's for the future. But I think if we're talking all in right now, and for the future, I think we really need to focus on the offensive line. We really need to do that. I've got problems with that offensive line. Brendel looks shaky at times. He gets pushed back and moved. Burford's Burford, no offense. And let's see, McKivitz. He's a problem over there. So I think for right now and building for the future, we should address that O-line.
All right, so let me look at the stats from the Super Bowl. The 49ers in that game. Do you know what they averaged on the ground in that game? Yards per carry?
4 something?
The Niners in the Super Bowl? 4 something.
Less than 4?
That was your guess? Oh, it was less than that. No, the Chiefs were 4-something. The Chiefs were
There you go.
4-3. The Niners were 3.5 yards per carry in the Super Bowl. So that's what they did on the ground. And then when they passed the ball, they gave up 9 unblocked rushers. So like really, their offensive line couldn't have done much worse.
And that's my point, right?
Yeah.
So in the fact where they were trying to run it, as we said earlier, they weren't really focused on running behind Trent or the left side much. And so, yeah, that's why I think you got to focus on the O-line. I mean, hello, it's right there in front of us. I mean, any idiot off the street can say, hey, that's a problem, right? So why not address it?
And like Jim Harbaugh gave that beautiful sort of like, it was almost like a sonnet dedicated to the offensive line. He did it at the owners' meetings, and he made the point like, if you don't have a good offensive line, it's going to hurt every other position on your team, especially on your offense. And we saw that in the Super Bowl. The offense, which it's one of the more talented offenses in like franchise history, could only muster up 22 points because they couldn't block anything on any play. And that counts Trent Williams too, man. He committed 2 penalties in that game. The only offensive lineman who committed a holding penalty in the entire game, Trent Williams. Incredible. Hey,
let me push back a little bit. Give him a little break. He's getting up there. He's getting some white hairs.
Back. Oh! Sorry.
You got me. But I mean, it was his first Super Bowl too.
It was. I mean,
we got to make
maybe next time.
Yeah, we got to make an excuse. That's what we do.
That's
right?
true. Yeah. No, because that worked out for George Kittle. His second time in the Super Bowl, he was so much better. He was ready.
Look, I'm not going there right now. Okay, I have an image to uphold. Kittle, right. I still love you, bro. All right, you too, Debo.
That's Grant, okay. Man.
That's that Grant guy.
Yep. Hold on, we got a couple more super chats, and we got the last topic of the day. Matt McEwen's. Well, he's producing the show and also financing the show. $5. Kyle Levy. No, we got you already. Got that one. Grant has to do the 30-30 for 30 with the movie trailer voice. One man couldn't seal the deal. The year was 2020. Matt McEwen says, Brother Bob, that same guy, said Kyle has final say to 53-man roster, but has no say on the draft. What are we doing?
I'm not going to touch that right now in MK. I'm not touching that.
Matt McEwen says, Brother Bob, wife said, because you are in with Grant, she won't complain of my supers. Ha ha ha.
That's good, man. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Harris says, I rarely give super chats, but shout out to our guy, Bob. Great insights and knowledge. Hope we see more of the show.
Thanks,
the audience has spoken. The audience, if you want to see Brother Bob, keep sending me money. That's how this works.
Make it rain.
Jason Lett says, "Is Kyle in Kyle Shanahan's defense? The rule book is thick and has
Wait a minute, hold on. You mean to tell me I have to read the footprint too? Well, those footnotes, I got to read the footnotes.
It's a tough year for Kyle Shanahan, man. He's become a little bit of a punchline, and as someone who's been a punchline for quite a long time, it's a weird feeling.
Look, man, all I want is to win a Super Bowl. You win a Super Bowl this year, I'm back to being a Shanahan. But maybe
me too. Everyone hit that like button, says Matt McEwen. Tony Nagatani says, who should you who would you rather have on the Niners roster? Brandon Aiyuk or Talisi Fuaga? The offensive lineman.
Yeah. No, to me, this is easy though. Because if we're trying to win right now, you got to keep your best weapon for Purdy in the passing game. So that's Aiyuk. And I want the offensive line to be addressed. I mean, I really want that to be addressed big time in this draft. But you can't give up Aiyuk and expect to win a Super Bowl. Now, if the plan... Okay, go ahead.
Not to compare Brock Purdy to Patrick Mahomes. Not because he's not quite there yet. But I'm just saying, I mean, the Chiefs boldly traded Tyreek Hill, improved their offensive line, won back-to-back Super Bowls. Like,
okay,
improving your offensive line at the expense of your skill position isn't necessarily the worst thing to do.
Hold on. Wait. That's when you have Andy Reid, and that's when you have Mahomes.
So you're saying that Kyle isn't the next Andy Reid? Because I've heard that everywhere. That if you just give Kyle 20 more years, he's going to win a Super Bowl when he's 65.
Well, yeah, that's fine. He can be if he also has to go to a new team to learn that
That is
his
true.
ish does stink.
Yeah.
But I think that, and that's another thing. Why didn't you fully scout Mahomes? I just don't get it.
He's
I
got
mean,
a
is
funny
it not?
voice. His voice, he sounds like the guy from Eastbound and Down. He does.
Oh boy. And he also likes to put ketchup on his steak, right?
That's
Any-
just that's a deal breaker.
I think it is. And it's
It's
funny
a deal
because
breaker.
he's beat us twice now, that same guy.
Yeah. Dave Barkley says, "Damn, I can't get BB to say what up."
Oh, Dave. Big Dave. What's up, my brother? It's hard.
Big Dave. All right, last topic of the day is 10:56 on the West Coast. Give me a player on offense and a player on defense who will make a big impact this season. Start on offense.
All right, starting offense. Okay. I'm going to say this. This is a really bold take here. But
Christian McCaffrey.
I think it's no. I love CMC, but I honestly think it's going to be Aiyuk.
Okay.
I think, especially if he has to play on that 5th-year contract, I think he's going to want to show everyone that he is the man. He's a great receiver. So I think it's him on offense. Now on defense, go ahead.
I kind of feel like if you want to get the best out of Brandon Aiyuk this year, are you talking about, this is all about this year, right? All your calculations are pretty much making the team as good as possible for this year. Make him play on that 5th-year option, man. Piss him off. Piss him. Do you want a motivated, pissed off Brandon Aiyuk with a freaking grudge, or a really content, happy Brandon Aiyuk?
Well, see, Aiyuk is different. Now, Aiyuk is different than, sorry, Debo, but he's different. Aiyuk goes out there, stays always in shape, is constantly.
We said about Bosa.
Not touching that one either. I'm staying focused right here.
Bosa.
I see you trying to fish and reel me in and talk ish, but I promise you today I'm not going to do too much of that unless
you
it's kind of legal.
I'm testing you, and you're passing.
We can get into that.
I got another one.
All right,
Jennings. And what do you have, like less than 20 catches last year? That's a joke. He's in a contract year, and I'd like to think that Kyle won't do him dirty. He usually gets his players paid.
Right, but here's the thing: is there enough ball to go around? Pause.
I got an idea. No, did he?
No.
Let's take those targets that Kyle Juszczyk gets. Take them from Kyle. Give them to Jennings.
It's only like what 6-7 more through. No, but no, that'd be good. I would love to see Jennings be featured a little bit more, but let's be honest. I think that he should always be the 3rd person in the routes or 4th, and I think Kittle, Debo, and definitely Aiyuk should be the main targets in the passing game.
Okay.
But let's go defense. Okay. Jair Brown.
Yeah.
What we saw from Jair Brown, especially him getting that interception in the Super Bowl as a rookie, I think was great. I don't know why when he was healthy that they didn't insert him back in the starting lineup. Sorry, Logan. But I think that Jair Brown will make a big difference on this defense. He'll be a big impactful player on the defense in 2024. I agree. No, I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I see a lot in him. I think he's got the fire. He will get even better when it comes to diagnosing the offense and getting there. Not that he was terrible all the time, but for a rookie, he played pretty damn well, in my opinion. And he does have the knack of getting around the ball. Getting around passes, if you will, so that to make plays on it for interceptions and even causing fumbles.
I thought he was a clear upgrade. I thought he was their best safety last year, and I like Talanoa Hufanga. But I thought they went with Tashaun Gibson just because he was a vet, and the lack of experience. You saw it in the Super Bowl. One guy made a play, the rookie. The other guy lost the ball in the lights. That was, I mean, really, you wonder if the safeties were Brown and Hufanga, a healthy Hufanga, do they win that game? Because Tashaun Gibson in that moment, it felt like, ooh, okay, like they held on to you a year too long.
Okay, you might be right, but I've always seen from my eyes that, you just might be. I got to give you ish, bro. I can't agree with everything you say. That's right. But look, I think Hufanga is a little bit on the slower side, and I don't think that Brown has that much speed. So I can see them both filling similar roles coming down in the box as an eighth man. But I do think that Jair Brown will be a huge impact. My second player, if you give him another one, I just think he might be a little bit over the hill, but Floyd.
I was going to say Floyd.
Yeah.
I like Floyd.
Oh, I didn't mean to take your guy. Go ahead.
No. I like that. I'm right there with you. I think he's going to be a nice addition to the team as a pass rusher, but also as someone who can drop into like zone coverage a little bit and make the 49ers pass rush less predictable.
Yeah. Now, on that note, I have to ask, is Brandon Staley really our true defensive coordinator? Or is he DC sub 2?
That's a good question. I think he has a background in certain things the Niners want to add to their defense that Sorensen doesn't. But at the same time, the players want the voice of someone they know. So I think the Niners are trying to like evolve and stay the same at the same time. It's like the players don't want to learn new things. The players want to do from their mind, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I think from Kyle's mind, he's like, look, no, it's broken. we need to evolve. We've kind of gotten figured out. The defensive schematics have passed us by a little bit and we need to catch up. I mean, just from talking to Robert Saleh a little bit at the owners meetings, it seems like everyone's trying to get these stimulated pressures. Just like on offense, everyone was trying to get the Shanahan offense. Everyone's trying to get that defense. You saw the Seattle do it. Now you're seeing the Niners try to do it too. Who was the first guy they went to after the Super Bowl? Spagnuolo, who was doing it to the Niners left and right in the Super Bowl. So I got to give Kyle a little credit. He knows what he struggles against and what he needs to incorporate.
Yeah, but sometimes Kyle seems to be a dollar short and a day late. Making these adjustments. But yeah, hopefully. I just look again.
Beating Deebo Samuel in the Super Bowl, about 4 years late.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You
should have done
went away
from didn't have Trey McDuffie. Sorry.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. All right, couple more supers, and then we're on for the day. Dave Barclay. No, we got you. Matt McEwen. I think Matos is going to surprise people. They gave him a lot of money.
Yeah.
2 years, $18 million. They must envision something for him. Anthony. Kyle literally freezes with his play chart in his hands in every Super Bowl. Come back, Brother Bob. I think Staley is a head coach fallback.
Anthony, that's very interesting. Thanks again, Anthony. We'll see if I can get back because we got to make time work here with the man who's so busy. But Staley, head coach? I don't know about that part. No.
Dave Barclay says, need you guys to say what up to my top employee, Brandon Buford, William Bonnie Blue. Hey, shout out to Dave Barclay's top employee, Brandon Buford, William Bonnie Blue. That's a name.
And shout out to the man himself, Dave Barclay. Good luck in all you're trying to do, Dave. Seriously, I love seeing you succeed, sir.
Yeah, the most enthusiastic comment creator in 49ers YouTube. We got the saltiest one on screen right now.
I am a little salty.
Oh my. Thanks for watching, everyone. This was a phenomenal show. Thanks for donating. Brother Bob, let's do it again real soon.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right.
Take care, everyone.
See you guys.